Look, there is no such thing as getting rich easily. However, it is absolutely possible to get rich quick, and you should do everything in your power to get to $10,000 per month as quickly as you can. I personally went from sleeping in a basement infested with rats to staying in some of the best buildings in the world. And if I can tell you one thing, it's that while money will not solve all of your problems, it will sure as hell make 99% of them disappear. It really makes me laugh when people say that money isn't everything. But oftentimes when you look at the people who say that, who they are, what they've done in their life, where they're headed, you'll realize they would love to have more money, more freedom, more free time, to be able to experience more out of life, and they know it takes money to do that, but they simply don't have the courage to do what it takes. So instead to cope, they will tell you, oh, but money isn't everything. And while to some degree it's objectively true, like if you lost someone you really cared about, someone really close to you, yeah, of course no amount of money in the whole world is gonna fix that. But at the same time, there is no reason why you shouldn't do everything in your power to attain a higher quality of life, because your time on this earth is limited, so why not make it incredible? From a young age, I knew I would be successful one day. I could just feel it in my bones. And sometimes you have to be careful. I wasn't going around and telling people one day I'm gonna be a millionaire, because I knew what people would say. They would tell me, yeah, right, keep on dreaming. A lot of people, they don't want you to dream big, because if you do achieve a lot of things and they don't, what does it say about them? If you came from the same background, you had nothing, you started from scratch and you became a huge success, made millions of dollars, it just shows they simply weren't willing to put in the work. But you know what? I'm grateful for all the people who tried to discourage me from pursuing my dreams. I'm grateful for all the hate, the criticism I've received on the way, because it made me into who I am today. It made me stronger. It made me mentally tougher. And to become successful, you need a lot of resiliency. You'll need to push past a lot of pain, overcome many fears. To get to where I am today, I had to overcome a crippling social anxiety. It was so bad at some point I couldn't even leave my parents' house, go for a walk outside. But one day I was just sick and tired of it. I forced myself out of my comfort zone because I knew successful people don't act like that. They don't stay hidden away from the rest of the world. They might be scared, they might be in pain, but they will do what they need to do because it's their duty to become successful, to do whatever it takes to get there. Not that I had no mentor, but that is exactly why I'm making this video, to give you a step-by-step plan that you can follow starting today to become truly wealthy and to live a life that will be worth remembering. A life so great producers would fight to get the rights to make a movie on it. So if you truly want to become wealthy, the first step is to cut all unnecessary expenses. When you're at rock bottom, you have nothing, you're genuinely broke, this is the best thing that you can do. It shocks me genuinely how many broke people I see with iPhones. Instead of putting that money into buying healthy food, a gym membership, they put it in an iPhone. And the worst part about having a phone is that it's literally a tool that's always in your pocket that is designed to steal your time and your attention. Because on your phone, there's probably social media apps, there's probably TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I mean, on some phones, you even get ads while you're listening to music. Everything is designed to steal your time. And if you want to be successful, you need to dedicate as many hours, as many minutes as possible towards the pursuit of your goals. Because think about this, the more time, money, and resources you allocate to reaching your goals, to completing a project, building a profitable business, the faster you'll get the end result. That is why you have no time to waste. And year after year, life for everyday people, it's getting more and more difficult. I can't even tell you how many times over dinner, my parents would be complaining about the price of literally just basic things, like a lettuce. It got to the point where they would literally do a contest to see who could find the lowest prices at the store. That's the first thing they would speak about when they would get back home. There wouldn't be a single day they wouldn't speak about the price of things. Can you just imagine being constantly in that state of mind, worrying about the price of everything? But if you spend so much time worrying, when are you living? And that's why I told my mother time and again, saving money is not the answer, because you can only save so much of it. That's not how rich people operate. And from a very young age, I was always honest with my parents. I told them I will never go to university. I will build a business instead, because I want to be rich. I want to make millions. I want to see the best that life has to offer. And I remember telling my mother, one day I'm going to buy you a Mercedes. Just like I told my father, one day I'll buy you a home in the countryside like you've always wanted. So why not cutting all unnecessary expenses right now? Like the money that you spend on video games, on eating out with your friends, on iPhones if you can't even afford it, or expensive clothes just to impress people that don't even care about you. It might be painful to do that right now, to sacrifice, to save your money instead of spending it. But if you play your cards right, in the future, you will have anything you've ever wanted. And as long as you follow the right blueprint, it's not gonna take you 10 years to get success. It can happen way faster than you think. Honestly, 12 to 24 months of pure dedication is all it takes to completely turn your life around. But like I said, saving money will not make you rich. If you manage to cut all of your unnecessary expenses, you might be left with, let's say, $100 at the end of the month. Well, of course, you're not gonna become a multi-millionaire with just $100 a month. And you could invest them in the stock market, like some people tell you to do. But the thing is, you'd be rich when you're 60. I preach sacrificing the first few years of your 20s, and even younger than that if you can, so that for the rest of your life you can live like a king. You can access a quality of life that most people think is only possible to attain in a movie. Investing is made for the rich. It's not made to turn the average Joe into a multi-millionaire. If you're broke, you need to first cut all expenses and then use that money to invest into education, to learn high-income skills. And then, with those skills that you build up over the course of years, you start your own business or you go for a high-paying career. But if I'm being completely honest with you, the traditional path will not make you rich. And by traditional path, I mean going to university, getting massively in debt, and getting a job in a booming industry in a top company, climbing the ladder slowly year after year for decades with the hope that maybe one day, if you work hard enough, if you sacrifice enough, if you sell your soul to the devil essentially, then you'll make 6 figures a year. But I can tell you for a fact, from verified sources, you might be a CEO, make a lot of money, over 6 figures a year, multiple 6 figures a year in fact, but that doesn't mean you'll get to enjoy life more, because when you're at that level, you have so many responsibilities, you often work 12 hours a day, and even on the weekends, you take calls, you have meetings, so by no means is it an easy path. But most likely growing up, your parents told you, go to university, study as hard as you can, get a good job in a great company, and then climb the ladder, because that's all they know. They're not trying to mislead you on purpose. If anything, if your parents are sane people, they genuinely love you, they want to see you do extremely well. They want you to be happy, to be successful. But the issue is, they don't realize that the advice they're giving you is not actually applicable to you, because they're giving you advice based on what worked 20 years ago. And whereas back then, 20, 30 years ago, if you wanted to become successful and you came from nothing, it would have been extremely difficult, if not impossible for most people. Because if you wanted to open up your own business, you would either work hard your entire life to save up enough money to open up your own business, but who knows what could get in the way. You ran the risk of never being able to have enough money to start that business. Or you could take a riskier path, get investors. But first, you'd need to convince very wealthy people to give you their money to start a business, which is not something that's easy to do at all. And then you would have needed to buy some land, to hire some workers, open up factories. It would have been extremely difficult. But in the recent years, a strange phenomenon started to take place. More and more people started to become multi-millionaires in their 20s. What could possibly explain this? The internet, and particularly social media. Because whereas before, you would have needed to come up with so much money to start a business, you would have needed to have the right people on board. Nowadays, you can literally be a 15-year-old kid in your bedroom with a laptop, a steady internet connection, and start a business today. That's why you have to be careful, because you can't really take the advice of your parents, and especially when it comes to making money, unless they're very successful people themselves. Because while they tell you, go to university, go through med school, study computer science, get a high-paying career, they don't realize that some 15, 20-year-old kids, and I'm not even that much older in reality, make over $30,000 per month, $50,000 a month, $100,000 a month because they started an online business, and all it took was the willingness to put in the work, to think on their feet. Now you have to be extremely careful, because not every business opportunity is equal. Some people will tell you, you should invest in crypto, it will make you rich. Never do that. You're gonna lose everything, I can guarantee it. And some people will tell you, oh, start an Amazon FBA business, do some dropshipping, do this, do that. And a lot of people will fail, 99% of them in fact. But upon speaking to very successful people and very unsuccessful people who tried every possible business model, I realized one thing. The people who never got any success with the businesses they started, they always had this one thing in common. And that thing is, they never took the time to analyze every business model they could find and to find the pros and the cons for each and to pick the best. But to help you, I've recorded a free guide in which I analyze in depth every popular online business model. We take a look at the pros, at the cons, that way you can pick the one that best suits your needs. If you're interested, I'll leave the link in the description below. Now the truth is, while you will learn a lot from studying successful people, you will also learn a lot by studying unsuccessful people. And every single time, I see this common factor in most unsuccessful people. They say they want to make more money, be in better shape, achieve more things, but the thing is, their goals are so vague, so uninspiring, no wonder why they can't get to work, no wonder why they can't stick to anything, which is why if you genuinely want to become wealthy, you need to know exactly what you want out of life. Don't just say, I want to make more money, I want to be a multi-millionaire. Ask yourself, what type of life do you want? What kind of individual do you want to be? What kind of work do you want to do? What would an ideal day in your life look like? And if you start a business because you want to make money, drive fancy cars, go on expensive vacations, stay in 5-star hotels, that's great. I don't personally get the people that are gonna blame you for wanting to experience the finer things in life. There's nothing wrong with with that. But while materialistic desires can be a great source of motivation, the truth is it will only take you so far. And at some point, if your only reason for working every day, for starting a business, it's so that you can afford nicer things, when you can just afford to buy anything that you want, you won't even have the strength to get out of bed in the morning because you'll have no aim in life. You will have achieved everything you wanted, which is why you always need to set bigger and bigger goals to never be satisfied. And if you're not careful, you can lose your drive in just an instant. And that is how you might be on top of the mountain, but you get crushed by a small, hungry competitor. The Wright brothers were the first to create a successful airplane. They both came from a modest background and had a bicycle repair shop. They were obsessed with the inner workings of things. They would often just take things apart and rebuild them. They wanted to really understand how things were built and how to improve them. And that's exactly what got them started on the race to creating the first successful airplane. And among their biggest competitors was Langley, the first man with government funding, while the two brothers could only afford to use the small profits generated with their bicycle repair shop to fund their new venture. But as you can see, the Wright brothers were not after money or fame. They couldn't care less about these things. They genuinely wanted to create the first successful airplane. They were passionate about it, which is why oftentimes mainstream advice will tell you follow your passion. Because if you look at all the greats in history, all of them followed their calling. They were deeply obsessed with achieving their mission. So it wasn't just about the money or the fame or the recognition. Something bigger than them was driving them. So what I really invite you to do is to grab a piece of paper and a pen and to write down exactly what you want out of life. What do you want a day in your life to look like when you're successful? What do you want to accomplish? Do you have a list of all of the things that you want to do? There's many things I have yet to accomplish and I still have that list in my mind. When you don't feel like working, you're unmotivated, you feel like giving up, remind yourself of what you want to achieve. Take a look at your list and chances are it will be all the motivation that you need to get right back to work. Because when you feel negative, you feel sad, you have to understand this feeling won't last. However, if you give up, it will last forever. And there is nothing worse than getting up every single day with that bitter taste of failure in your mouth, and the only reason you have it is because you gave up. So now that you know exactly why you want to become successful, now that you picked the right opportunity, you know exactly what to work on, it's time to go warrior mode. Now I've made an extensive video on warrior mode to explain everything in depth. So when you're done watching this video, I highly suggest you go check it out. The link will be in description. But you've got to understand that if you want to perform at the top level in life, you need to treat yourself as if you were an athlete getting ready for a big competition. This means that for a while, you are going to enter a period of extreme focus and dedication with the sole objective to reach your goals. All you do when you're doing warrior mode is the actions that will improve your life and give you what you want. And while this approach might seem a bit too much for the average person, I will tell you it is extremely beneficial. When I'm in warrior mode, like I am right now, the level of productivity I can tap into is absolutely mind-blowing. That's why I don't really believe in having balance. If you allow yourself to check your phone during your breaks, it's so easy to get distracted, to get sucked into a 2-hour-long conversation, to go and open up TikTok and Instagram and to start scrolling. When you allow yourself to watch movies and TV shows, you'll be thinking about the TV shows instead of thinking about new creative ideas to grow your business. You'll be eager to finish up the work for today so you can go watch the new episode. Instead, it's far better to pick a set duration. So you say for 21 days, to give you an example, I'm going to just work, go to the gym, that's it. And then of course, because you can't do that forever, let's say for 4 days, you're gonna do whatever you want. If you want to watch TV shows, you can do that. If you want to travel, have fun, date, you can do anything that you want. But doing both at the same time doesn't work in my experience. Most people don't do that, but that is exactly why most people never achieve anything substantial in their lives, because they do what everyone else around them is doing, so they get the same results. If the people around you right now, they don't have the sort of life that you want, if you take their advice and you do exactly what they do, you will end up exactly like them. Now with that said, what are you waiting for? It's time to get back to work.